Hello everybody. This is Sadhna Deshpande from Saraswat International Academy. I am your English teacher and today I am going to tell you what will be coming to you in English subject in your 11th standard. Surprised? Because you already know what English subject is. Then what is more to tell you about English subject? I am going to brief you the syllabus, rather the things which will be coming to you in 11th standard English. So, I have written the things to you, but briefly I will explain everything to you. Now first, let us talk about the books which you will be coming across. Your textbook is going to be Hornbill. Hornbill is the name of your English textbook, in which there will be 8 lessons and 5 poems. Then afterwards, you will be having supplementary reader. The name of the book is Snapshots, in which there will be 8 lessons. Now let us see what will be coming along with the lessons and poems. First important thing, what you will be taught. So you will be taught how to read, how to write. Again you will think that we already know that. But there will be little bit difference, rather vast difference, because now you have come to higher secondary section. So there will be change in writing pattern, reading pattern as well as checking pattern. But that we will discuss afterwards when we will start with our regular lectures. First let us see what will be coming along with the lessons and poems and supplementary reading as well as grammar. Now in prose means where the lessons come. There you will come across question answers of the lessons. There will be comprehension paragraphs. There will be word building. What do you mean by word building? Word building means to make one word from another word. For example, if one noun form is given to you, you are supposed to make adjective form, adverb form, verb form out of that. That is what is word building. You will come across idioms and phrases. Now, in idioms and phrases, you will come across the meanings of idioms and phrases, and you will have to write the sentences along with that. Next comes your poetry section. In poetry section also, question answers, comprehension stanzas will be coming. Along with that, your figures of speech and one more thing, paraphrasing of the poem will be coming. Afterwards, in grammar section, now the most important section of your English subject. In grammar section, I'll tell you what will be coming. There it will be editing the passage. It means rectification of error will be there. Then fill in the blanks will come. In that also again transformation also will come. Now this transformation is a larger section of grammar. It's named as do as directed. It means that you will be directed to tell what you will have to do with each. Let us see what comes under that. There it will be change the voice. That will be the first topic of your grammar section of do as directed. It means that you will be coming across active passive voice, sentences which are to be interchanged in each other. In next it comes interchange of simple, compound, complex sentence. We know that there are 3 types of sentences, simple, compound, complex, that you will be interchanging in do as directed section. Next comes affirmative and negative sentences. So you will be interchanging affirmative sentences to negative sentences and vice versa. Next will be your adding a question tag. I hope you must have come across all these things previously also. So this year also you will be coming across this thing, adding a question tag, then changing assertive sentence to interrogative sentence, and vice versa. What is that vice versa? Opposite of that means interrogative to assertive also. Next comes your exclamatory sentence. It means changing assertive sentence to exclamatory and exclamatory to assertive. Next comes degrees of comparison. As we know, there are 3 degrees of comparison: positive, comparative and superlative. So, interchange of those degrees will come there. Next is use of if and unless. Next thing which comes over is removal of to and use of TOO. Then, of course, direct indirect speech will be there. And last but not the least in grammar section, it will be your punctuation section. Punctuation marks will be introduced to you and then you will be told how they are to be used. And the last section of your English will be reading and writing skill. I'll just tell you what will come over there. There will be unseen passages, unseen stanzas for comprehension. Then next will be note making, report writing. Now many of the things you might have done previously also. So this year also you will be coming across those and some more things will be added to your syllabus. There will be speech writing, there will be advertisement writing. So you know that there are different types of advertisement. You will come across that. Then notice writing will be there. Letter writing, already you must have done. Again it will be formal letter and informal letter. Next will be your email writing. Another will be application for job. This probably will be new to you. And next will be essay writing, which you might have done previously in the lower classes also. And the last will be data interpretation. There are some of the topics which must be new to you, but we will be just covering all these topics throughout the year. I hope you are ready to learn English, you are ready to study English in Saraswat International Academy. Thank you very much. Welcome to the world of English. Hello everybody. This is Sadhna Deshpande from Saraswat International Academy. Welcome to the world of English language. Today we are going to study the first chapter of your syllabus. The name of the chapter is The Portrait of a Lady. But before we start, I would like you to have a look at something else. Now, first let us see what comes there. The 4 levels of wisdom. I'll recite the thing for you. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool, shun him. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a student, teach him. He who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep, wake him. He who knows and knows that he knows is wise, follow him. This is an Arabian proverb. Let us see the meaning of it. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool, shun him, means जिसको ये पता ही नहीं है कि उसको कुछ नहीं पता है, वो मूर्ख है, उससे दूर रहो. Let us see the second one. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. Teach him. Means, जिसको ये पता नहीं है लेकिन ये पता है कि उसको क्या नहीं पता है, वो एक स्टूडेंट है, विद्यार्थी है, उसे पढ़ाओ. He who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. जिसको पता है लेकिन उसको यही पता नहीं है कि उसको क्या पता है, वो सोया हुआ है, उसे जगाओ. And the last, he who knows and knows that he knows is wise. Follow him. Means, जिसको ये पता है कि उसे सब कुछ पता है, तो वो होशियार है, समझदार है, उसका अनुसरण करो, उसको फॉलो करो. Now, just read the second stanza again. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. Teach him. You are the ones who know that you don't know something, and that's why you are students, and that something which you don't know will be taught to you today. Have you understood it? Okay, then let us move forward. But before we move, I would like to tell you something about the author Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh was an Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist, and politician. His novel Train to Pakistan became well known. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to come across the author's grandmother and his varying relationship with her in different time span. But before we start our lesson, I would like to ask you something. As you know, in India, even though we live in a nuclear family nowadays, we are very much attached to our grandparents. So, those who are staying with grandparents, I would like to ask, do you love them? I know the obvious answer is yes. All of us, we love our grandparents and we have got fond memories of them. So let us see how the relationship of author Khushwant Singh changes with the changing time span with his grandmother. Now, I would start reading the lesson. Before we start, I request you to have one pen or pencil with you and a notebook so that you can just note down the meanings of difficult words and the phrases which are coming across. Now let us start reading. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. Now, my grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. What does it mean? We know that our grandmothers, they are old. So the same thing, the author is telling that his grandmother was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. It means, obviously, if she is old, then she must be wrinkled. But the author is telling us that since last 20 years which he had known her, she had been old and wrinkled. Remember one thing, the changes, the bodily changes, they occur in a person till particular time, so that whenever somebody comes across you who is meeting you after a long time span, so you must have heard them saying that, oh God, ये तो कितना बड़ा हो गया. इसका मतलब some particular changes have occurred to you. But author had not found any change in the grandmother. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. See, remember one thing. These are the thoughts of a small kid. They have got some fanciful ideas in their mind, and that's what the author is telling. That people might have told him that once the grandmother was young and pretty and even had a husband. But it was hard to believe to him. He didn't believe it. But we know that unless the lady had a husband, how the grandchildren could have occurred. This idea didn't come to the author's mind because he was a small kid. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Now he is talking about the scenario at his home. So then he is telling us that his grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece. What is a mantelpiece? You can see the meaning I have written. A mantelpiece is a shelf that projects from wall above the fireplace. So then he could see the grandfather's portrait hanging above the mantelpiece. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. Again, he is observing his grandfather's portrait, in which the grandfather had worn a big turban. You must be knowing that Sikh people, because Khushwant Singh was a Sikh, so then they wear a big turban. So the same thing his grandfather was wearing. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. So again, these are the fanciful ideas of the author at his young age. He thought that his grandfather was at least 100 years old. He did not look the sort of a person who would have a wife or children. So then the author thought that the grandfather did not look that type of person who would have a wife or children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. The author in his childhood thought that the grandfather must be having only lots and lots of grandchildren. The thought didn't come to his mind that unless one has got a wife, children, one cannot have grandchildren. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. Now see, this is the phrase. The thought was almost revolting. It's a phrase. You can see the meaning of it. Idea was distinguished. This is the meaning, or the idea was disgusting. So then, the author never thought that the grandmother was young and pretty. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child. Now, have you got the thing? Why he was saying that that was disgusting idea? Because the grandmother must be telling him that she used to play these games in her childhood, as your grandmother also must be telling you that I used to play these games in my childhood. Do you believe them? You should believe. Why? Because some or other times the grandmother also must be a small child like you. That seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. Now remember one thing. When we are in a combined family, you must have heard about the stories which your grandmother must have told you. So that's what the grandmother used to do with Khushwant Singh. But then, when the grandmother used to tell them that she used to play as a child, the author never believed it, and he thought that it was quite absurd and undignified on her part. Being a grandmother, she cannot play. So that's why we treated it like the fables. Fables are the stories having animal characters in them. And prophets are the interpreter of the will of God. So now let us move forward. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. As usually, you must have seen that the grandmothers, as they become old, they just get slightly bent. थोड़ा ऐसे झुक के चलते हैं. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. It means the face was wrinkled throughout. दादी जी का जो चेहरा है वो पूरी तरह से झुर्रियों से भरा हुआ था. No, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. It means that the author was thinking that when people used to tell him that your grandmother was pretty and beautiful, so he didn't believe, and he thought that she can only be old. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older. Now, the author used to think that the grandmother could not grow older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. So the author was thinking that the grandmother must be at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Now remember one thing. Do we ever think that our grandmothers are ugly? Never. We always think that they are beautiful. So in the same way, the author used to think about his grandmother. She hobbled about the house in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the bits of her rosette. Now, you can see the word hobbled. It means that limped. Limping, हमारी दादी जी जो है वो नॉर्मली ऐसे थोड़ा थोड़ा लंगड़ा के चलती है. That's what is hobbling. So, the author's grandmother also hobbled about the house in spotless white. वो पूरी तरह से सफ़ेद कपड़े पहनती थी. With one hand resting on her waist, वो अपना एक हाथ कमर पे रखती थी. To balance her stoop. Stoop is the posture. So, to balance her body, she used to keep her hand on her waist and the other telling the bits of her rosary. Rosary, वो जो माला होती है ना जपने की, उसको रोजरी कहते हैं. So she used to tell the bits of her rosary. मतलब हमेशा वो अपनी माला अपने उंगलियों से फेरते रहती थी. Her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face. Puckered, the meaning is wrinkled. तो उसकी जो जुल्फे थी, her silver locks. Why silver locks? Because the hair must be white. Her silver locks were just moving here and there over her wrinkled face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Inaudible prayer means जो सुनाई नहीं दे clearly वो. Yes, she was beautiful. Even though he didn't find her pretty, but he always felt that she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Now see, the grandmother is compared with a winter landscape in the mountains. You must have seen the landscape, the portraits, the photos of the landscape of the mountains. An expanse of pure white serenity. Serenity is calmness, quietness, breathing peace and contentment. Now, contentment is satisfaction. Students, just remember one thing. Even if you miss out some of the meanings of the words or the phrases, don't worry. I'll give it to you at the end of the lesson. So, again we will see how the author is describing the grandmother. She was breathing peace. Breathing peace means she was always calm and quiet. And contentment. Contentment is satisfaction. It means that the grandmother was always satisfied, completely satisfied and contented with her own life. Let us start reading the chapter again. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. Now, this is a common scenario nowadays of every household. The circumstances come like that the parents, they live at some another place, and the children, they live at some another place. So the same thing happened with the author also. But his grandparents, rather his grandmother was there with him. So both of them, they became good friends. They were constantly with each other, continuously with each other. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. So as normally when the mother is there along with the child, the mother does all these duties. But because the mother was not there with the author, that's why the grandmother used to wake him up in the morning and get ready for school. So she said in her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. Now, in a monotonous sing-song means in a repetitive manner. This is a phrase. So, when the author used to get ready for the school, so the grandmother used to recite her morning prayer, and when she bathed him and dressed him, She hoped that the grandchild would listen to her and get to know the prayers by heart. I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. This is again a small kid's thoughts. So he listened to the prayers which the grandmother used to recite because he loved her voice. But he never bothered to learn it. He never paid attention to it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle, and hand it to me. See, those were the days where all these things were used by the students. The plastered yellow chalk, then a tiny earthen ink pot. They used to carry the ink pot. Not nowadays. Like nowadays you use pen or ball pen and pencil and all. So in those days it was a wooden slate with a yellow chalk and a tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen. And then the grandmother would hand it to the author. After a breakfast of a thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. Again, you can find the difference between your breakfast and the author's breakfast. What was his breakfast? A thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it. Not nowadays. Like nowadays, what do you have for your breakfast? All the fancy items like bread and butter or the parathas and all that. So he didn't have those. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. See the purpose of carrying several stale chapatis with the grandmother. What was that? To feed the village dogs. So she used to care for animals also. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. See, what was the purpose of grandmother going to school along with the grandchild? Because the school was attached to the temple, that's why she used to go. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer. Now, the priest, normally here in temples, we have got the pujaris. So, priest is a pujari. The priest used to teach them morning prayer while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. Scriptures are our Vedas which are written. So, what the grandmother used to do while the children used to recite the prayers, morning prayers or alphabet, she used to sit inside and read the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. Now we have seen that how the grandmother used to carry stale chapatis for the village dogs while going along with the grandchild to the school. So while returning from the temple, the dogs would meet them and they used to follow them growling. Growling is barking loudly. And they used to fight with each other for the chapatis as grandmother used to throw the chapatis to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. Again, sent for us is a phrase. It means they called them. When the parents of author they comfortably settled in the city, they called both the grandmother and the grandchild, who is our author. That was a turning point in our friendship. Now, see, before this, we have seen how the author is very close to the grandmother. But when they went to the city, so that was the turning point. There, the friendship changed little bit. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. Normally, in the village, the grandmother used to take the grandchild to the school. But then, in the city, even though they shared the same room, but still, grandmother did not accompany the author to school. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. Why? Because the author used to go to the English school. Again, he used to go in a motor bus. So that's why the grandmother could not accompany him. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. So in the village, what used to happen, when both of them they used to go to school, the grandmother used to carry old stale chapatis for the dogs. So they used to chase them. But now here, because grandmother didn't go along with the grandchild, and that's why, so she took another venture of feeding the sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. Now see, this happens as you grow. Your relationship with your grandparents, it becomes little bit aloof, little bit far away. That's what had happened with the author's friendship or the relationship with the author, with the grandmother. So then, years rolled by means when time passed. They saw less of each other. They met for a little bit time. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. In the village, what used to happen, she used to get him ready, wake him up, and then along with him, she used to go to the school. But now, she just continued for a little time to wake him up and get him ready. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. So, when he used to come back from the school, the grandmother used to ask him what was taught to him at school. Normally, what happens when you also must be going to home, your parents must be asking you the same thing, that what was taught to you in school. So in the same way, grandmother used to ask him what the teacher had taught him.